Now at 10, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Now at 10, we've issued a weather impact alert for tomorrow morning. Downpours and gusty winds could impact your commute to work and school. Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank will time it all out for us.
Plus, 1 year ago was the start of a brutal fall fire season here in Connecticut. And tonight we're looking into why state forestry officials are once again concerned.
First, we've learned the names of the 2 people who were shot and killed early this morning in Hartford. Thanks for joining us for the Fox 61 News at 10. I'm Brent Harden.
And I'm Sarah Sanchez. Those victims were Cynthia Jimenez Pacheco and Joel Martinez.
Fox 61's Victoria Anderson gets us the latest from officials, plus what locals are telling her.
2 people are dead after an early morning shooting in South Hartford Sunday. Police say they're still working to find answers for the family and the locals that are now shaken up.
The devil is busy.
No rest Sunday for South Hartford. Teddy Middleton, who lives on Franklin Avenue, woke up to sirens and several police officers across the street.
I counted 14.
Police?
14 cars, yeah.
Wow.
And SUVs.
Hartford police responded to 270 Franklin Avenue around 5:30 Sunday morning to reports of gunshots. What they found was a man and a woman, both in their 30s, both dead.
There was a lot of activity in the neighborhood last night, so my cameras were going off all night.
Jen Scott Miller, CEO of Angel of Edgewood, heard the sirens from her camera system.
And I did see the lights flashing and going by.
Her warehouse just feet away from the crime scene.
It's sad either way, but I'm hoping it's not anyone that we personally know.
Police say the 2 were in a domestic relationship with each other, but have not shared who they believe the shooter was. For Scott Miller, every neighbor is family, and she says it's days like this that remind you to hold your community a bit tighter.
We have to come together. We have to come out, even in times like this.
And this is an ongoing investigation, so we will bring you more details as we get those in. Reporting in Hartford, Victoria Anderson, Fox 61.
All right, back to the weather now, and that weather impact alert we've issued for tomorrow morning.
Yeah, let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank for a first look at the forecast. Rachel, when are things going to start?
I think right around 4 a.m. So as we get closer to daybreak, we'll start to see some of those downpours developing. And the issue is this will continue through 8 or 9 a.m., at least regarding the worst of it. So some heavy downpours, gusty winds up to about 40 miles per hour, and even the chance for some embedded thunderstorms and an isolated strong to severe storm. Again, that's a very low risk, but something that's still possible. So what do you do with all this? Just an extra heads up to leave yourself more time to get off to work. Bring your rain gear with you and make sure you have a way of getting weather alerts just in case any do end up coming in. Some of us may be splashing through puddles early tomorrow, especially with the leaves that have been coming down, and that could end up clogging up some of those storm drains. Of course, we do want the rain though, and we'll get an additional ½ inch to inch of rain, which is fantastic news. We're still dry, but you can see the rain approaching. Here's a look at winds, which are already gusting up to 30 miles per hour for Groton, 20 in Torrington. Showers developing after midnight. This is 4 o'clock in the morning. We're starting to see some of those showers blossom, and notice some locally heavier downpours and rumbles of thunder 6 a.m. As we head closer to 8 or 9, we'll start to see that rain get closer to the Rhode Island border, and then it is out of here. At least the worst of it should be done by 10 o'clock in the morning. Following that, we'll see some slow clearing as we head through the afternoon with highs in the 60s. We're going to talk more about the winds. There's also a minor coastal flooding threat. Your full forecast is coming up.
Thank you, Rachel. Well, developing tonight, Bridgeport police say a child's in critical condition after being hit by a car late this afternoon. The child was struck around 4:30 at Madison Avenue and Salem Street. Officers say the child was alert and conscious when first responders got there. The driver stayed on scene.
Earlier today, Route 187 in East Granby was shut down after a serious crash near South Main Street. It's still unclear how many cars or, in fact, people were involved in the crash. The road was closed for hours while crews cleared the scene and investigated. It has since reopened. We'll keep you updated when we learn more.
Waterbury police are investigating a stabbing that happened yesterday morning on Walnut Street. Officers found a 31-year-old man with stab wounds just before 10 in the morning. He was rushed to the hospital. Police say his injuries are not life-threatening.
Vice President J.D. Vance will lead a U.S. delegation to Israel this week to help implement phase 2 of the fragile ceasefire with Hamas.
White House envoys Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff will join meetings with Israeli leaders. The truth is already strained. Israel launched strikes after 2 soldiers died, and the U.S. says Hamas could plan an attack on Palestinian civilians. President Trump warns tonight if Hamas breaks the deal, it will be met with force. U.S. troops will not be sent into Gaza. And the Israeli military says Hamas militants fired across the boundaries set by the ceasefire. Israel responded with dozens of airstrikes on Hamas targets, killing at least 36 people, according to Gaza hospital records. Aid deliveries were paused, but Israeli officials say they'll resume tomorrow. Back at home, state leaders are on high alert over the fire risk. Tomorrow will be 1 year since the start of a brutal month for our firefighters.
Yeah, several fires popped up every day, and crews had to be called in from out of state, and a Connecticut volunteer firefighter even lost his life. Fox 61's Tim Latow explains why this year has fire officials worried as well.
Last year's fall fire season was one of the worst in our state's history. The Department of Energy and Environmental Protection says during the entire fall season, there were 605 fires. They burned more than 500 acres and destroyed 8 structures. Hundreds of firefighters spent days trying to put out the fires. 8 firefighters were hurt, and 1, Robert Sharkovich Sr. with the Weathersfield Volunteer Fire Department, died.
The wildfires that occurred in Connecticut were unprecedented. Just between October 20th and November 20th, over 220 wildfire starts in Connecticut.
Fire after fire, repeated every day for a month, sparked by unusually dry conditions. Conditions the state's director of forestry, Chris Martin, says we are seeing once again, even earlier than usual.
We're going to anticipate possible uptick in wildfires in Connecticut, and the daily fire danger rating probably staying in the moderate to high category.
500 acres might not seem like a lot when compared to other states, but Connecticut's fires often pose an even greater risk to homes, businesses, and people's lives.
2-3 acres really in other states is not a big deal. That could be very concerning for Connecticut given our housing density.
Because of this proximity, Connecticut foresters have to be careful when they manage vegetation and can't conduct as many prescribed burns as other states.
Our springtime is usually our prescribed burn time, and we do a lot of habitat work and very little wildfire risk reduction, actually. Connecticut doesn't burn a lot, but we do have problems because we have a very high wildland-urban interface. It's a lot of people living amongst the forest.
Fall has the most severe conditions for wildfires due to the dry ground and piles of leaves from birch, maple, oak, and beech trees, which all add fuel to these fires.
In the fall, if we have fire, it usually goes into the ground, which is very difficult to put out. You basically have to excavate the dirt because the upper layers of the soil is burning. This gets complicated when we start having leaf fall.
Martin says the danger also hides inside the trees themselves.
Our tree mortality issue, and basically caused by spongy moth and some beech leaf disease we're seeing now, and the demise of the ash from emerald ash borer, have certainly added fuel load to the forest floor.
Scores of oak trees are also standing dead, which is more dangerous for firefighters and helps certain fires spread faster through treetops. As firefighters and foresters do their share of the work, they say everyone has a responsibility to protect each other.
We all have a role in preventing wildfires. 90% plus of all wildfires in Connecticut are human caused, and so they're preventable.
Remember, especially this time of year, that open burn permits are not valid when fire danger is high. Also, don't leave any fires unattended. And after a campfire or cooking fire, the ground should be cool to the touch after you put a fire out. In studio, Tim Latow, Fox 61.
And since last year's destructive and deadly Hawthorne fire, one fire department has made several changes to protect its crews. Tim sat down with the Berlin Volunteer Fire Department's chief to talk about the lessons they learned last year. You can catch that story Tuesday at 10 and 11 here on Fox 61.
Well, scammers are posing as customer support from popular financial services and trying to get your personal information. The Department of Consumer Protection and the Department of Banking say these imposters use fake emails, and they're issuing a reminder again to never click on links or attachments from unknown sources. You're encouraged to contact your bank or investment service directly using the phone number on your account statement. Again, if something feels off, it's because it probably is.
Well, a person in Rocky Hill is recovering after a close encounter with a black bear. Police say it happened around 3:50 Friday afternoon on New Britain Avenue. They told officers they were sitting on their front porch when the bear came up and made contact with their knee. Not sure if it was a bite or a scratch, wasn't explained. The bear immediately ran off into the nearby woods toward Newington. Officials say the person only suffered a minor cut. DEEP responded and believes the bear may have had identification tags.
West Haven police say there have been multiple coyote sightings near the high school. On Friday, one chased a couple of people. Thankfully, no one was hurt. Police say coyotes are common in Connecticut, and they usually avoid humans, but they can turn aggressive. Officers are working with animal control and the DEEP to safely relocate the animal. If you see one, you're urged to not feed or approach them. Keep your pets close and report any aggressive behavior to police. It's now day 19 of the government shutdown with no end in sight.
And lawmakers say it could become the longest one ever, even surpassing the 35-day shutdown during President Trump's first term. Hundreds of thousands of federal workers are furloughed or working without pay, and taxpayers are footing about $400 million per day in costs. The shutdown is also slowing down loans for small businesses, travel, and housing deals. And while Congress remains deadlocked on a funding bill, we have the latest on the government shutdown on Fox 61 Plus, our streaming platform. You can stream it for free right now on your smart TV.
And millions of Americans flooded neighborhood streets this weekend for No King's Day rallies. It's a movement where they're pushing back against what they call presidential overreach. Most protests stayed peaceful, but there were clashes outside an ICE facility in Portland where several people were arrested. Event organizers say more than 7 million people participated across the country.